Hello, Instagram. It has been a while since I've gone live, and I'm gonna invite my girl. It is definitely Mercury in fucking retrograde right now because we couldn't get on Zoom. And we are talking today about feminine energy and of course being challenged to step into our feminine energy surrender and just allow the universe to redirect us. Hello. So Deanna's going to be coming on soon. We're going to have a really amazing conversation about the state of personal development. Hi, Deanna. What's up, girl? How you, Dara? Okay, let's get on there. Is she on? Yeah, we're going to talk about there's so much shame in this personal development space, and we are really two individuals who are committed to really disrupting the industry a bit. And we're going to have a conversation about it on here today, which is going to prepare us for our podcast that's going to be recorded when Mercury is done. Are you on, Deanna? What's happening here? Oh, you requested. I didn't see your request. Oh, wait, here it is. Okay, there it is. Sorry. I'm trying to get a handle of Instagram Live. I haven't been on here before. There we are.
Hey, guess what?
What?
I can hear you.
I know. I'm telling you, this is everybody who's going to be watching this. This is about literally going with the flow. This is like so on brand for what we're going to talk about today, which is not trying harder to make something happen. When the universe is giving you a direction, a redirection, you go with it because there's something to be gained from this of not being able to connect on Zoom. So here we are. I look really big. So, hi, girl.
Hi. Oh, it's so good to see you. It's been a while since we've connected. So
absolutely.
I was so excited to record the podcast with you. Like so excited. But like this is good because like I said, this scares the fuck out of me going live on Instagram and I don't know why, but I'm here. So yeah.
There it is. And I needed to go on live. I haven't been on live in forever. It really is like riding a bike, but it is scary to get back on because I'm like, I haven't done this in months, and it's like, it just makes it so much easier to go on with a friend. So it's like, okay, we can do this together and then it won't be so hard. But no, I'm so happy we're talking because, like I've really learned how important it is to collaborate and co-regulate. And I had tons of stuff going on today. I was in my masculine energy. I was in my sympathetic, like I really need to get shit done today. And I was like, but I want to stop and take the time to connect and get in the feels.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what I really want to, I love the fact that we're both kind of on brand with this message, which is like, really taking time to slow down and do what's truly like impactful for us as women rather than just constantly going and going and going.
Mm-hmm. Well, and the interesting thing that's come up for me in the last like week or so is I was like, okay, I'm going to try like TikTok and put stuff out there. So my mentor was like, okay, go post videos 4 times a day so that you can be building, you know, your followers. Cause she was like, oh, someone that she knew in 30 days got like 100,000 followers on there. And I was like, all right, let's give it a go. It was so fun. But literally it came to the point where I was posting all the stuff everywhere all day long for like over a week. And I just exhausted myself. Like I wasn't taking care of myself. I was like literally on my phone or my computer, I swear, for like 9 to 12 hours a day. Like it was insane. And I was like, this is not the way. And I connected with a girl that I met in another community who does human design. You're familiar with human design. I think we're both manifesting generators, emotionally manifesting generators, right? And I was just like asking her a few questions, and it was like, your brand is to not give energy and expel energy where it doesn't need to go. Like your brand is you need to fill yourself up and teach people how to fill themselves up first and to not give things where it's not going to expand your energy. And I was like, oh, thank you for the reminder, because that's literally what I've been doing. I'm like, it doesn't have to be that hard to get yourself out there. Like, you shouldn't have to be posting like all day long to build your business, right? And depleting yourself. And I was like, okay, reality check. And I was like, I just need to shift things on how I'm doing business now, because like that's not sustainable. Like,
Yeah.
really, did our soul come here to be like, oh, let me just like force things and be working 24/7 in the masculine energy? Like, that's not life. Like, it's that balance, right?
Yeah.
The masculine and the feminine. And I know you understand that totally.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing that I'm like super passionate about. It's like the trust that's involved with allowing your energy to move you rather than you directing your energy is really huge, because when we allow ourselves to be in tune with our energy and we allow ourselves to move in the direction that feels impactful, that feels it, then that's what creates the impact. You can go around and like from a depleted place and create things all day long, but are your words, is your energy going to really impact anybody?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you can feel that it's just not necessarily about what you do, but who you are doing it.
Yeah.
And that's why like I and you are so like, we're so like passionate about that balance, because it's so
Yeah.
easy with trauma to get wrapped up in the doing and the receiving the results, but are you really receiving the results? Or you
You
actually
you
no,
can't when you're in the doing, right?
right?
Like, when we're in the doing and we're in the masculine and we're in the thinking, we can't feel things, we can't receive things, we can't even be like pulsing out the like energy and vibration that we want to in the world, right? Like, your magnetism's just shut off.
That's totally,
It's
and
like,
hi Hill, it's totally the
yeah.
magnetism part. The magnetism gets suffocated when we are in the chasing mode, when we're in the getting and expecting mode. I know that for myself, if I was posting 4 times a day, I would be expecting my results to come in. And then
Yeah,
that just defeats it, because then
exactly.
you're just like, you're not in it for the creativity. You're not really in it
Yeah.
for the joy of the creation. And it's
Yeah.
about a balance. Like, you can't just be
You're
like, la di da, whatever. Like,
yeah.
there's gotta be some masculine that comes in, but it's like flowing in that like infinity sign. Like, when you feel stuck, okay, how can I be more feminine? And when you feel stuck, how can I be more masculine? And just really tapping into how you feel, and what it feels like in your body to be stuck, to know that feeling and to say, okay, what
Yeah.
can I shift? How can I shift right now?
Yeah, yeah. From like what I've learned in my experience is like, when you're stuck, it's because you're stuck on a mental pattern, and then it keeps telling the feminine to feel a certain way. So it's like this loop, right? That just keeps you in it. And yeah, it's like you've got to now direct your thoughts to go somewhere else and tell yourself to actually feel differently, right?
Yeah.
Like, we got to get the thoughts flowing as well as like the emotional energy flowing, right?
Right. And that's what's so important. It's that for me personally, I cannot, when I'm in the midst of like an emotional thing, I can't think my way out of it. I really admire people that can think their way out of it. I think people have a very like core energy, and my core energy is not masculine. I have a very masculine mask, and I've learned to be very go, go, go. But truly, when I'm in my feels, I can't think my way out of it. And so it's so important. And that's the
Well,
thing. I think it's important to teach and educate people that it's not just the mindset. And then there's so much shame if you cannot think your way out of something. Then
mhm.
that just compounds the shame and compounds the stuckness. And
Yeah.
that's what I had been doing for so many years, just like judging myself for, why can't I move on? Like, these people seem to move on so quickly. Why can't I?
Yeah. The one thing what you said about like, I can't think my way out of it when I'm feeling, like, if you look at the masculine and the feminine energy, so when the feminine's emoting and feeling all the things or just sharing, the masculine's supposed to be an observation and presence, right? So you have the internal energies are fighting against each other. The masculine's trying to think its way out, analyze and fix things. And then the feminine's like, I'm just trying to feel this shit right now and share and express, and you're not listening to me. And then you have this like inner relationship battle going on. And oh my gosh, I like, that's my story. Like, and I get like migraines from it, because it's like I literally, like, once you're in that masculine dominant energy, it's like you can't stop. So it's like you really have to train yourself to drop into observation. Like, come on, mind, drop into observation of how I'm feeling. Like, let the feminine actually feel what she feels, and don't try to fix and change it. Don't try to analyze it. Like, turn off the commentary and just feel the sensations, right? And
Yeah.
like, that is such a powerful thing.
Yeah, that's an amazing thing to really be able to observe within yourself, because, you know,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's necessary. I think it's the wounded masculine that has a
Oh,
tendency
yes.
to, yeah, that's like, I need to fix it. Like, how many times have we been in relationships with a man, if, you know, if you're heterosexual, and you're like, you just want the man to listen and be with you. And he's like, what do I need to fix? Right. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like, we have those same energies within us, and really, like, yes, like bringing up the feminine, the compassion of just witnessing yourself in emotion and just like allowing yourself to be with it, not in it, not identified it by it. And then stepping up with your own healthy masculine and, or
Mm-hmm.
your own feminine, and just communicating to your masculine, what is it that you need? Because as
Yeah.
women, learn not to express what we need in our relationships and businesses, and our friendships. And this is a very important skill to be able to have within ourselves, is to like, okay, this is what I need from myself. And so being the partner, being the best partner for yourself, you know, like the best boy, but the best, you know, masculine partner, but also being there as the nurturing mother for yourself. That's it.
And I think what you said there with the knowing what you need, like, that's so powerful. And the masculine has to be in observation of how the feminine's feeling, because if he's trying to fix it, there's no way your feminine can actually connect with what you need in the moment. So it's like, it's really got to like train the mind, right? Like the masculine into that healthy version of the masculine energy.
Right, right. And then just in extending this to like when I'm a huge proponent of parts work, it's like, okay, what part of you is that dominating part? You know, what is that part that's present right now that wants you to like abort the emotion and go and do something else? Like acknowledging that part, acknowledging the masculine, respecting the masculine will allow the masculine to soften. Right.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, we have to step up. Our feminine has to step up and fully love and appreciate and nurture our masculine, not be like, oh, fuck you, you're not listening to me. It's like, no, I understand. Like, this is how you've been conditioned, right? To try to push and force and think your way out of things. So I'm not going to shame you, because that's just adding to more shame. It's like, okay, I see you and I love you and thank you for trying to protect me and help me. And let's try to work together. This is what I need. I need you to listen to me, right? Like you were saying, like the needs
Yeah.
and building
Yeah.
that together.
And that's, and we talked about this, like this is what's like, I'm just gonna rant for a minute. I literally, I was reading this post on Facebook. I can't go on Facebook anymore because there's a community of women on
Fires
there.
you up.
It triggers me because there's a community of women on. They're very, I mean, they're a very successful community, but it's a very, like, it's a sorority. It's very much like this woman had posted this picture of her in this, like, in normal day real life, in a chiffon gown on a beach, like doing some like pose with balloons and stuff. And she was talking about how her self-esteem was like, someone had challenged her self-esteem. And she said, you know what? I always have high self-esteem. Like I always have high self-esteem. I love my life. And I'm just like, really? Because here's what we're being poisoned to believe, that like that personal growth and development and healing is this, like you hit this destination where you no longer have doubt, where you no longer are you know, the it's about the wobble, you know, like there was time in the past where I was on this like platform doing this like ropes course, and I was so afraid of the wobble. I didn't want to feel the wobble. I wanted to grab the ring that was in front of me without the wobble being present. And that's what personal growth is. It's like, you know, we're taught to like ignore the wobble. We're taught to ignore what's actually shaking instead of accepting and welcoming the shake as part of the process. Like
Mm-hmm.
confidence to me is not some unshakable entity that you will never, no one, you will never question yourself. It's like, that's very masculine. It's like, that's how I'm going.
I'm
But
changing myself to only be this way, right?
right,
That's totally shutting off the feminine.
And it just shames us. It shames women into looking at people like this and going, that's the ideal. That's where I need to be. And if I'm not there, what's
Mhm.
wrong with me? And
Mhm.
that just irks my pickles so much, because there's performative, expectant energy in the online space. And
Mhm.
it's not what we're here for. You
No.
know, again, like you said, we're not here to chase goals and consume goals. That's not the full picture. It's part of the picture, but
But
we have
it's also accepting completely where you are right now and like you are enough. And it's like, if I want this goal, like, how is that goal going to make me feel? I'm going to embody that energy now. And embodying that energy now is enough that I actually don't even need that goal, right? Because that goal is outside of you and it's taking your power away if you're trying to like get yourself to it, right? Like, I'm good enough right here, right now, with everything, with this balance that I have in with my internal energy, my masculine and my feminine, right?
yeah.
And I feel like, you know, a lot of those communities, it's like they are like striving for the next thing and they're not allowing this now moment to be enough and allowing themselves to be enough, right? And it's like to have to say, oh, I have great self-esteem or I'm so confident. If you say that, you're not, right? Like somebody who's confident doesn't go around and say I'm confident, right? Like you just are and you don't need to say it. You just be it and
Right.
people feel it from you.
Yeah, there's like, exactly. I mean, it's okay to state things and declare things so that people have permission to do that, because I
Mm-hmm.
find that we often are shamed for like expressing how we feel. And, but you
True.
can feel it. You can feel the energy of pushing. You can feel the energy of I need to make a point and fear, versus the energy of like, here I am, you know, and it's okay to put it into words, but it's
Yeah.
like, yeah. And it's what you said about like, you know, we're really striving to feel something. And so if the goals that we're setting and we're actually accomplishing them, if you're not actually feeling what you think you're going to feel, there's something off about your what you're doing. It's are you trying to fill something inside of yourself with
Mm-hmm.
the goal, or are you coming from a place of I am enough right now and therefore I want to actualize what I feel inside of myself? You know,
Mm-hmm.
use this
Yeah.
energy that I feel, this confidence that I feel, to then actually make headway in the direction of my dreams, versus I need to get all these things in order to feel this confidence. And I was
Yeah.
something else and I just totally forgot. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's like just realizing that confidence isn't about faking it till you make it. I get there's a place for that, but I
Mm-hmm.
also, hi Julie, I get there's
Hi,
a place
Julie.
I get there's a place for faking it till you make it, but that's not authentic. That's not sustainable. That's only gonna, you know, people talk about imposter syndrome. You feel imposter syndrome when you've been acting like a fucking imposter. Like when you have been trying to get yourself to think and force yourself to think a certain way, to think that you're confident.
Well, then you're shaming your masculine energy, right? When you're trying to change the way you're thinking as well. Like I've been diving into a lot of work where it's like accepting where you are right here, right now. You're not trying to fix it or change it. Like you're loving it. And then we're going to go over here and we're going to create something else. So you can use your mind to begin to create another energy, but not from a place like if it's coming from a place of you're trying to fix something in you, you're going to keep looping in whatever you're living in because you're trying to fix it. Because you keep attracting more of it, like the universe or whatever is like, oh, you want more things to fix? Cool, I'm going to bring you more things to fix. So we want to get out of the space of fixing and being like in excitement, like, oh, I just want to see what I can create, right? I want to see what's I can expand myself with, not like, oh, I don't love where I'm at and I need to change it, right?
I love
That's
the word, like I totally get that, because we're taught to fix. I mean,
yeah.
fixing gives you worth. Fixing makes you feel like you're capable. And, you know, I love the word like alchemize or transmute, because it's really just about giving yourself that presence and that space to lean into what's happening. And when you know, and this is the thing that I really want to help teach women, is that yes, when you are in your emotions, it's not about fixing it. It's about leaning into it and asking that wisdom what it wants you to know, and really like taking your hands off the wheel and just being with yourself and listening. We are so not great at listening. We're great at telling people what to do. We're great at telling ourselves what to do and to feel. But what would it be like to actually listen and give those parts of us that value? Like, let them feel valued and acknowledged. And in life, it's a relationship. When people feel valued, acknowledged, and listened to, things soften, the problems dissolve, the connection is built. And so when we can just take a step back and just accept and value what's here instead of trying to fix it and hot potato it, I mean, just move, and you actually become that more expansive, confident person rather than thinking your way to that place.
Exactly. And I love what you said, the wisdom and the emotion, because I don't think enough people understand that. Like literally, it's like your feminine telling you that you're like off course, right? And not from a shameful way, but like, this doesn't make me feel good. Let's go a different direction. So when you feel into the emotions, you can allow that wisdom to actually come up, and you'd be like, see things clearly, right? Like when you allow the emotions to come up, all of a sudden it brings so much clarity into your mind. And then all of a sudden you can be like, oh, cool, I felt this way because it was telling me that this is actually not the correct way for me, right? Like for me, how I was saying, while I was like pushing out all that stuff on social media for so long, and I was so triggered, like when my dog was like whining and stuff, I'd like lose my shit. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's because I'm forcing things that aren't aligned for me, right? And my feminine's trying to tell me, okay, this isn't the way for you. There's another way for you to do business. And it's like, we need to stop pushing that down because it creates so much pressure. And then that creates dis-ease and ailments in our body, right? And tension. And we need to allow that wisdom to come through us and listen to it to realign our lives.
Julie, I love this question because we are wired to avoid it, and the fact that the awareness is the first step, is really knowing that like I'm not comfortable feeling my feelings right now. So I would say, like, if there's a part of you that is afraid to lean into your feelings, just to acknowledge that part and be like, I see you. I see that. And when you say a part of me is afraid to lean into my feelings, then you can have a choice. Then you can actually turn towards that part and know it's not all you. And that lessens the shame around it. And it's like, okay, what is this part of me that really is afraid? And I would just say, acknowledge that part and ask that part what it needs you to know about leaning into your feelings. And in that process, in and of itself, you're already going to be in your feelings. Does that make sense? And so sometimes, just instead of looking at it like a feeling that I have to face, like this feeling, just look at it as a part of you, like a tender and scared part of you, or just somebody in your community or in your, a client. What would you say to a client? So, okay, so I would say, okay, if I'm feeling, let me use an example. Like, okay, this happens to me all the time. I have horrible back pain. I have horrible back pain, and the back pain is trying to tell me something, but I don't want to listen half the time because I'm in my like, let me go, go, go. And so I will just stop, and I'll just like, I naturally want to pathologize what's happening. I naturally want to say, why is this happening? I don't want to feel this. And then I'll try to distract myself and avoid what's happening, instead of just like going, okay, I'll put my hand on my shoulders and I'll be like, okay, I see you, I hear you. You don't have to change. You don't have to go away. Like, what is it that you need me to know? And I'll just really just be present and just like allow an answer to come through. And that's all that it really takes. And sometimes it'll evoke some more energy, but I'll just focus on the energy that's in my back, and I'll allow myself to feel it, and I'll allow myself to receive the message from it. And sometimes it'll make me want to cry, or maybe that voice will want me to move, or maybe that voice will want me to like just take some breaths. But it's just a wisdom, and it's not a mountain that you have to tackle all at once. Like if it's not something that's comfortable for you, just get into the habit or the practice of just like having the awareness and then just turning towards it and saying, hey, I see you. And then you can just go about whatever you are doing and then just continue to lean in and co-regulate, because when I'm in the midst of a feeling that I don't want to face, I will call somebody up and I will ask them to hold space for me to share that part.
Yeah.
That's a
Huge.
huge, yeah.
Yeah. What I have been doing is like, so if I'm afraid to feel, usually it's because the mind is afraid to actually give up control. So if someone is disconnected, would this be more difficult? Yeah, we'll dive into that for just a second, in a second. So anyways, so the mind doesn't want to give up control. So it's like I've had some conversations with my mind and being like, okay, can we take 5 minutes just to like feel how we feel in our body, right? And this could actually be in with the disconnection thing too, right? Like it's a fear of actually like you're disconnected because you don't want to feel. And it's like, let me just like for 5 minutes just try to feel just a little bit. And what I've done is I like ask my mind, can you just like pause for just a second and allow and to drop into observation so I can actually feel the sensations in my body. And sometimes like if an area is like too painful to feel, I'll be like, let me feel into like my toes. Like that feels good. Let me just start there. And then just start to like describe the feelings I'm feeling, not from a place of like trying to fix it or change it. And then eventually work my way up to the spot that like doesn't feel good. And just practice that. Like it's not something that you're just going to instantly get. Like it takes a while. And I noticed that when I eventually allow myself to feel what I'm feeling in my body, emotions just like start rushing out of me. And then in the past, I used to like try to analyze the emotions, like, oh, what am I feeling? And now it's like, okay, no, every time the mind tries to come up, it's like, oh no, it's okay. Let the feminine, let the emotions release. They don't mean anything. Just let them flow through you.
Yeah, that was perfect, Deanna. And that's what I do with my clients is like, what makes us afraid of our feelings isn't the feelings, it's the meanings that we make around our feelings. And so sometimes when when someone's very resistant to feeling emotions, because it can feel daunting, like face your anger, face your sadness. Nobody wants to go there because they think they're going to get stuck. It's just really starting out with the sensations in our body, like just the neutral sensations. Like, what are you feeling in your, like, yeah, your chest? Is it heavy? Is it have a color? Is there an image? Like just starting out small. Like we're not putting any meanings around anything. We're just observing what it looks like, you know? And when the mind comes in, sometimes it's just coming back to the breath, like just continuing to come back to the breath and, you know, and visualizing that part and asking that part if it's okay, if it just gives you a little space. Like, I see that you want to get somewhere, but would you, you know, it's all about consent when we talk about our parts, when we talk about our mind and our masculine and all the parts of us that want to take control. It's just like asking consent from these parts. Is it okay if you just give me a little bit of space? I promise that we're going to go in a direction that will be aligned for you and me. So like, and then just getting that consent helps a ton, rather than you're coming along on this ride with me and you don't have a choice. You know, it's just like asking parts of you that are resisting, like, I see you. Is it okay? Like, let's
yeah
back.
Yeah. And I feel like it's a matter of learning how to build your focus, right? Like, I don't know about you, but like when you're feeling something in your body that doesn't feel good and your mind is so disorganized and all over the place because it's trying to reach for something to fix how you feel. So if we can start to, when we're not in that energy, start to learn how to focus our energy and attention on certain things, then we can begin to actually be able to focus our attention when we're in there, be able to focus our attention on observing it versus trying to fix it, right? And which is like the more healthy masculine energy, more mature. I don't like to say healthy because that makes kind of like shames the other masculine. Let's say mature, the more mature.
Mature. That's the best word. It's a
Yeah.
mature. Yeah, the parts of us that want to like that are keeping us in these patterns that don't serve us, just they think that we're 5, they think that we're 10, they think that they're still protecting the child, and they don't even know that there's a mature individual that can actually take care of all of the parts. And you know, like all of our parts, all of the resistance gets to be there. We don't want to resist our resistance. That's what will keep us in stuck
Oh my
position.
gosh. Yeah.
Yeah, like even you know,
Try
like
to fix your resistance. That'll keep you in it.
allow all of it to be here. What if it could all be okay? And if it can all be okay, then there is way less resistance and way less stuckness that happens. But we are so conditioned to resist it because that's our society and our culture. And that's why it's really important to be in the presence of someone that can notice these patterns in you. And the more that you interrupt and pattern interrupt, notice that you're doing that, notice that you're doing that, notice that you're doing that, the more you can start to do it for yourself. And the more that you can actually start to rewire your patterns rather than force yourself out of a pattern.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And something that's been really powerful for me is if you look at your parts as masculine and feminine, and you're feeling a thing for a certain reason because your masculine has said or done something that's made the feminine feel that way. So really tapping into like, what does my feminine actually need to hear right now from me, right? And when you actually drop into observation and allow her to share what she needs to feel, like it literally just releases all of the tension and all of the things, because it's like, whoa, I'm finally heard and I'm allowed to feel what I feel. It's such a beautiful thing. It's like you open like the can of worms of like emotions to like flow out of you.
Yeah, I mean, I love this because it's like the key words for healing. Just like you said, Julie, it's like having someone to witness you and externally but also internally when you're able to. It's like it's a relationship, and if we can remember that it's a relationship that we have with ourselves, it's not a dictatorship, it's a relationship. And when there are parts of you that don't want to go, the parts of you that are scared, the parts of you that are resisting, it's like, how are you in relationship with them? Are you telling them what to do? Are you trying to fix them and you're telling them that they're wrong and they can't be there? Or are you having a conversation? And this is what creates embodiment, because I don't believe that you can truly be embodied and confident, truly embodied, if you don't allow all of your parts to be
Yeah.
heard, all of your parts to have a place at the table. And what we were saying, Julie, is this personal development is so much about like, let me front load all the parts of me that I love and suppress and shame all the parts of me that I don't, and not let anybody see those parts, so that all we're showing is this glamorized version of personal development where there's no place for our imperfections, there's no place for our shame, you know. And it gets to have a place, otherwise it will control us eventually.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing, and we've talked about this before, is a lot of like in the self-development world, there's a lot of like it looks like perfection, like they don't have emotions, and you know, they don't go through hard times. So I think really normalizing what we're actually going through on a daily basis, that there's nothing wrong with it, right? And it's healthy. Like if you're just one way all the time, you're not in your feminine, right? Like you're just like totally in your masculine and forcing yourself to feel a certain way. I know obviously when you get to the point of loving and accepting yourself fully in all your parts, yes, you're going to be feeling amazing a lot of the times, but you're human. You're still going to have triggers. You're still going to have emotions that don't feel good, right? If we're going to shame emotions, right? Like all emotions are just emotional energy, so they're not good or bad, right? It's what the mind makes it mean. And what I've discovered is that's actually what drops your vibration when you put a meaning on what you're feeling. When you're making whatever the feminine is trying to express and share with you, the wisdom, you're making it mean something. That's what drops your vibe, because now you just shame the fuck out of your feminine for the wisdom she's trying to give you, right?
Well, and then the thing of it is, it's so good is that like we talk about manifestation and people talk about like think these thoughts, don't think those thoughts. It's not just about the thought, it's about the energy that you are either explicitly or implicitly giving that thought. So if you are trying to suppress something, there is way more energy going in that direction, trying to suppress something, than actually forwarding you into another direction. It's not about the thought, it's about the energy that you're putting into something. And if you're resisting something, you're putting energy into it. So the resistance is a leaky energy system. The resistance is what's going to keep you from manifesting powerfully. And you said something, and I really wanted to add to it. And even that part of you that feels like you need to love yourself fully, that's a part. Like there's no perfection in loving ourselves. We don't have to love ourselves 100%. It's just allowing ourselves to be exactly where we are, you know, and it's just really, there are days when I don't love all my parts. There are days when I don't love my fucking life, and that's okay. And I'm never going to be in love with everything for a sustainable amount of time. That's just not possible, you know? And so if you're growing, that's not possible. And there was one other thing I just wanted to dive deeper in that you said that was so good. Oh yeah, I think the people are now talking about feelings. People are on the bandwagon of feelings and trauma because that's what's trending now. We also have
Trending.
You have to discern that shared words is not embodiment. And so I see a lot of women in the online space. Yes, I'm feeling my feelings. Not really. They're feeling their feelings. They're allowing the feelings in, but they're quickly wanting to fix it. They're quickly wanting to they're grabbing the modality that they're of their choice to get rid of it, rather than truly stopping and creating a relationship you actually can pause.
You don't need a modality.
They're not actually getting the wisdom of the feeling. That's what I want to say. They're not allowing themselves to pause and get the wisdom of the feeling. They're feeling the feeling and they're like, whoa, I don't like it, so I'm going to fix it. But I'm finally not avoiding or distracting. I'm actually allowing the feeling in. But what can I do, and what modality can I pull off the shelf to get rid of it, rather than being with it? Yeah.
What if this is going to be a little controversial, but what if the modalities is actually part of the shame programming?
Totally.
Because modalities are here to fix you, right?
Yes.
Trauma is trending. Yeah, totally. Yeah.
But people don't truly understand it yet. Yeah. It's now people are starting to get on the bandwagon. Okay, feelings are good. Let's feel our feelings. But it's not an understanding or deep understanding, like you said. It's a shame programming. It's like the fixing is the shame program. The fixing is, this is not okay where I am, because it's not aligning with my business. It's not aligning with my vibe or my manifestation. We are so quick to react to the energy of like sabotage, or if it's not going in our direction, we just want to.
And then if we look at the other side of it, trying to fix the fixer is the next level. Instead of bringing love and compassion and nurturing and appreciation for that part of yourself. We don't need to fix the masculine. We don't need to fix the feminine. We need to just observe and bring love and appreciation to those parts.
Totally, totally. And there's one example is in the body, in when it comes to body shaming. Okay, so we're like, oh, I love my body, but I can't judge my body. Don't judge your body. They're judging the judger. Don't judge the judger. The judger is going to be there. You're going to tell me that you don't look at yourself and you don't go, I don't really like my body today. And you know, like these women are like, I love my body. That's great that they've reached that level of enlightenment.
And is that actually true? Or they just
saying it, right? They shame women for judging their bodies. There's no perfection in this healing. There's no perfection in trauma. You just allow it in and you give it love and you acknowledge it. That's it. There's no fixing it.
Observe. observe all the parts, right? Like I feel like observation is one of the highest level of love and compassion and acceptance and allowance, right? You
Yeah.
just let it fucking be. I've been
It,
swearing a lot. That's what I do.
no, but this is the kind of conversations that I'm all on board for, is because they're so disruptive, because I've been holding it in so long, the shame that has kept me not speaking my truth because I'm afraid, you know? And so, yeah, and you don't even have to embrace it, you know? It's just like, it is what it is. The
I
Teletubbies,
embrace.
it's not, I love it, I don't, whatever. It's there. It is what it is. There's no perfection in it. And, you know, what were you saying before this? I totally lost track. But like, um, oh,
Observation or
it's holding space. It's like,
yeah.
you know, like if you're, you know, if your best loved, you know, person you love the most came to you and lost something or was afraid of something, like the best thing you can do for them is just to hold them in that space and let them move through the emotion. Just like a kid having a tantrum, let him have his tantrum. When we start judging it, when we start wanting to fix it, when we start making it wrong, that's when it goes to infinity and beyond. Like there is a cycle of emotion that we won't allow ourselves to stick around for, to actually notice that it will go away if we allowed it to.
And when we don't allow it to flow, yes, it gets like stored in our body as stagnant emotional energy, but it also becomes our identity.
Totally. Because
I'm
that part,
depressed or I'm angry or I'm frustrated, like I am, and you're like tying yourself to it as who you are.
well, and yes, and what happens is if we don't, it's like a child that didn't get to resolve an emotion, that had to cut off what it was feeling to perform for its caregivers. That child is going to continue to seek those disconfirming experiences of love and compassion, and you're seeing me and you're witnessing and you're allowing me to have my experience. So anytime we shut our emotions down and we stick a label back on it, that child is going to continue, that part is going to continue to try to seek different experiences so that it is heard and seen and valued. And so the emotion will come up stronger, it will be more like a landmine. So work through it truly so that you can actually like release it and free yourself from that layer of emotion.
It's like we're trying to solve all the conditions from our childhood, and then as we try to solve them, we're making them bigger, right? Because we're not allowing ourselves to feel what we feel and just be.
We're solving them from the perspective and the conditioning of how our parents solved us, how our parents
Yes.
dealt with us. We internalize our parent. We become our parent, good, bad, right, or wrong, the things that we loved or didn't love about our parents. We become our parent, whether we want to or not. And so having that awareness that I'm criticizing myself, I'm criticizing that part of me that just wants to be held and heard. I'm trying to fix her. I'm trying to make her perfect and perform, versus truly reparenting ourselves from the feminine space, from the nurturing, not motherly, like I'm going to mother you to death so that you become what I want you to be. That's how we fuck up our relationships, you know, as we try to mother people and we make them feel like they have no, you know, that they're below us, that we know better. Well, no, your body has a lot more wisdom than what you think, you know, so listen.
Has a ton of wisdom. Yeah.
Yeah, so amazing. But
Yeah. To solve your entire backstory in a day. You don't have to solve any backstory.
you're not a problem to be solved.
Yeah. 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 There's nothing to solve. There's nothing to fix. There's nothing to change. You're perfect exactly the way you are right in this moment.
And
It's the part of wanting to change it that we need to just work with the masculine so he understands that we don't need to do that anymore.
right. But I will add a layer to that. We don't need to solve it. We do need to find our agency within our story, which means that instead of having all the parts of you be in the driver's seat, you get to enroll your parts. You get to learn how to, you get to have your parts learn to trust you, that you're in the driver's seat and that you will take care. them, because that's all they want. They want to know that, no, we swear.
I swear a 10. Oh my God, girl.
Yeah, no, you're not swearing. I don't trust you, really.
Yeah, you can.
But anyways, I mean, but I just, to complete this, it's like, it's about, this is something I learned because I went way too far into my feminine and just really allowed all my parts to just take over because I had that much compassion for myself. Yeah. But sometimes compassion will screw you if you put too much, like you give yourself too much room. You have to kind of pick up into that healthy masculine then to be like,
yeah,
we are going. This is not, we're not going to camp here. Like, you gotta let your parts know that you're gonna drive the bus, not in a like, this is a dictatorship way. This is a fun camp. Like, we're on this camp bus together and we're gonna go together and we're gonna make it happen for all of us to have all of our net. It's really about learning to meet all your needs. When you know what your needs are and you learn to meet all your needs, that is flow, that is alignment, that is everything. That is not a problem to solve. It's a thing that you get to be curious about. What are my needs? How can I love and nurture myself more? What do I need? And really listening and not telling yourself what you need, but listening to what you really need.
Mm-hmm. I think that's huge what you just said. And it's very common once you start to understand that you have a balance, like you have a polarity inside, is that the majority of the world is heavily in their immature masculine. And then we go and we are like, oh, the masculine is bad. We need to be fully in our feminine. And so now we've just taken a teeter-totter in the other direction. So now it's like, okay, I played here, which actually just having a mess of the feminine. I don't want to call the feminine a mess because that's shame, but like not having the structure to contain it, that's brings you a lot into the immature feminine, right? So it's like we need to have that balance between the two to balance out the teeter-totter, yeah. Right? And just knowing that that's okay, going fully into the feminine and thinking that that's the way because the masculine is bad because we've been programmed that is totally fine. It's part of the process, right? And then you realize, oh, the masculine is actually an amazing and a beautiful thing, and I don't need to shame it or fix it either. It's not actually abusing me. That's like a shame program. And now I get to just work on building that flow together, like teaching the feminine, like appreciate the feminine or the masculine for how amazing the masculine is. And then that starts to make the masculine feel good. Like, oh, like I did really good. Awesome. Okay, I want to observe you because you're like appreciating me so much and you're loving me. And then that's how you can start to build this like synergistic relationship. Like, I'll observe you while you feel, and I'll accept the structure that you're creating for me because I know that it's actually supporting me and allowing me to be, not trying to control me, right?
Yeah, this is why this work is so, like, I'm so lit up about it, because imagine if you were this way with yourself. What could be projected into the world as a result? I mean, the world as we see it is a projection of how we treat ourselves, how we cancel ourselves, how we shame ourselves, how we don't have room for the parts of ourselves that are scared and angry. And imagine if, we start doing the work and really learning how to balance those energies within us and allow everything to be valued and acknowledged and accepted, and to hear the parts of us with compassion and space. Like, that's why I'm just so I'm so ready to like just dive into this, because the impact that it would have on the world, it's just so important. Sometimes it feels like a merry-go-round. It's hard to find. Yeah, and that's the thing. It's so, you got to be able to do it with somebody else. That's the thing in my life that I learned when I hit the ceiling in my life. Every level is going to demand a new set of skills from you, a new set of a more flexible nervous system from you. And doing it alone might have gotten you so far, but continuing to do it alone, you will get caught up in the tangle because the eyeball can't see itself. even the most talented brain surgeon can't do brain surgery on himself. And so it's so important to be able to find a coach or a community or whatever of people that will help you see these things, that will help you interrupt the shame program that's happening, because it is so ingrained. Like, it's body wisdom. You are intelligently wired to shame yourself because you wouldn't have gotten what you needed in life if you hadn't. So it's unlearning, unraveling that shame programming, and it takes people. You can't do it alone.
My experience with that, and I totally agree with that, from another perspective, being mostly an anxious attachment, the one thing that I learned is learning how to actually do things on your own and be able to regulate yourself. I think creating this internal relationship and being able to create that space for yourself without someone else is very powerful as well. So I think it's really good to tap into who you are, and are you an anxious attachment, right? And maybe you do need to actually cut out some of the distraction, because there's so much distraction out there telling you do this, do this, do this, do this, and you're getting thrown all over the place. That was my story, right? Like, one mentor says this, one mentor says that. How about we go inside and, like Katie says, like, get connected to our agency and know that there is a part of you that knows how to do this, to create that, and to stop giving our power to other people. And if you're working with a mentor, like Katie is amazing, who can actually hold space for you and direct you inward, that's the power, right? Like, not having someone tell you what to do, always a mentor that's sending you inside to get the answers and just hold space for you. I think that's super powerful.
Yeah, that's a great point. It's like, and that's really kind of like, we need the co-regulation, but we also need the self-regulation, and really being very attuned to how I normally do things and then going in the opposite direction. I am really good at
you're the opposite as me.
but I'm really good at doing it by myself. I'm so good at doing it by myself. And I needed to learn that I needed to be with a community of people to share my secrets, share the things that I was feeling, to then feel like I wasn't alone or ashamed. And what Deanna was saying is that, like, the one-on-one, there is no, or even a small group, there's nothing that really compares to the intimacy of that. Because when you get into larger programs, people are just kind of telling you, and you can get caught up in, like, I was
following.
I was in that community last year, and everything in my body was like, no, I don't want this. Doesn't feel good. But everybody was loving this mentor. And I was like, what is wrong with me? But that's the thing that I've learned to do, is to cultivate that sense of agency within myself and knowing what feels good for me. And that was the best thing I did $15,000 later. But, like, I learned something so valuable from that. But working with someone one-on-one who won't tell you the answers. Because here's the thing, a coach or a mentor that hasn't worked through their trauma will tell you the answers, because that's about them.
Bang fucking on. I just want to preach for you with this. Say that again. People need to fucking hear that. They need to hear it.
Yeah, and that's what I see in the online space, is that when a coach or mentor has not done their trauma work, they want to be the main character in your movie. They are telling you the answers and coddling you and giving you everything that part of you needs, but it's not helping you build a sense of agency within yourself. It's not helping you find your own wisdom and guidance. And that is something that I'm so passionate about, because I see a lot of women out there who are very masculine energy directed, and they've done work and they're great and they know all about modalities and things and that and all that, but they're not allowing you to tap into your own internal wisdom. Your own internal wisdom is what is going to create the life that you deeply desire. And I've been in containers where I'm in, like, we're being coached and it's all about the coach, not about us. And not really being held in a space of, like, really listening, because there are certain coaches that can't go there. They don't want to go to that deep place because they haven't gone. So you want to find someone who's really gone to that deep place and can truly hold that discomfort for you. Because
when it comes to the inner work, right? Like, if we're talking like other stuff, learning how to build your business or whatever, I mean, there's an aspect for sure you have to go within, but like, different practices, of course, follow an expert for, like, those things, right?
Totally.
There's one thing that you had said before with how you're like, I do everything on my own. And I was like, oh, like I rely on other people, so I need to kind of cut out the distraction. I think it's important to really discern with the different parts of you of what area of your life it is, because there's probably parts of you that does do it all on your own. And then there's parts of you that relies on other people. So you might be avoidant in one area and anxious in another. But the majority of people are either fully disconnected from their emotional system or they rely on other people to regulate them. So I think when it comes to the feminine, we really need to learn internally how to step up our masculine, to step into observation, not rely on someone else. Yes, you can have a mentor to help hold space, but they need to help you start to be able to integrate your inner masculine to hold space for yourself, to allow your emotions to flow through.
Yeah, that's such an important distinction. And again, like I've been in different levels of my life as a coach, and there were levels in my life where a client would depend on me so much and I felt the pull to save them. And
Mm-hmm.
and because I wanted to be liked, right? And so, this is what it is. It's like you got to find someone that's able to navigate their own feelings in your journey, because as a client, whatever you're going through, if you're going through the deep healing, you're going to want, your parts are going to come up. You're going to want that, the mother figure, father figure, you're going to want that. But
whatever you had growing up,
whatever you didn't have, you're going to project that onto your coach. And a coach who isn't emotionally regulated will give into that and will not serve you. It will not serve your ability to find that and parent yourself. And so I'm very clear about boundaries. Like there are clients that are constantly texting me all day long wanting an answer. And I feel like a jerk being like, I'm not here to give you any answers. I'm here to show you the way to find them within yourself. But some people don't want to hear that. They just want to be the answers because they're still operating from a traumatized part of them. And so, but you're right. It also depends on the area in your life that you want to ascend or succeed. Like in business, it's going to be very masculine. You're going to want someone who's very masculine and can hold the feminine as well, because that comes up. But yeah, such great points, Deanna.
Mm-hmm. You too. This is awesome. We might have to do this like
yeah, this is so good.
I
know. I was saying we need to keep a lid on this because we can just go forever. But we just
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Round 2 coming soon. 2.
Yeah, redirected by the universe. Thank you, everyone, for joining.
And yes, so amazing.
Such a good conversation. Thank you, Deanna. Have a great day.
You're welcome. Bye, guys.
Bye.